The thing in my closet. You ever have one of those memories from childhood that just doesn't sit right? Like you remember it happening, but it feels too weird, too wrong to be real. I have one of those, and I swear to you, I know it happened. I was about 8 or 9, living in this old house with my mom. My dad had passed away when I was really young, so it was just the two of us. The house was small, kind of creaky, but nothing too weird. Except for my closet. I hated that thing. It wasn't anything special, just a regular sliding door closet. But for some reason, I always had this awful feeling about it. Like I knew if I opened it at the wrong time, I'd see something I wasn't supposed to. And every night, before bed, I double-checked that it was shut tight. Then, one night, I woke up to this quiet shuffling sound. Not super loud, but just enough to pull me out of sleep. At first, I thought it was my mom, maybe walking to the bathroom. But when I opened my eyes, my room was pitch black, except for my closet. The door was open. Not all the way, just a crack, maybe 3 or 4 inches, just enough to see darkness inside. Now I know what you're thinking. Maybe I forgot to close it. But no, I always closed it. I remember pushing it shut before getting into bed. I stared at it, heart pounding, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe the house had shifted. Maybe the door just slid open on its own. Then I heard it. A slow, deep breath coming from inside my closet. I stopped breathing. My whole body went ice cold. I couldn't see anything in the dark, but I felt it. Something was in there, watching me, waiting. And then the door creaked, just the tiniest bit, opening slightly more. I wanted to scream for my mom, but I was frozen. Every instinct in me was screaming, "Don't move, don't make a sound." And then the whisper came, right from the darkness inside my closet. "I see you." That was it. That was all it said. I don't remember what happened next. I must have passed out from fear or something, because the next thing I knew, it was morning, sunlight streaming through my window. The closet door, shut, like it had never been open. I told my mom, of course. She said it was just a bad dream, but I knew it wasn't. For weeks after that, I refused to sleep in my room. I'd beg to stay in my mom's bed, make excuses, anything to avoid being alone. Eventually, I got over it, or at least, I forced myself to. I convinced myself it was just my imagination, until a few years later. We were moving out, packing up all our stuff. I was cleaning my room when I found something wedged in the back corner of my closet, something I had never put there. A single, tiny handprint, too small to be mine, and smeared, like whoever left it had been dragged away. I never looked back after that, never asked questions, never wanted to know. Some things are better left forgotten.
Something in the hallway. You ever wake up in the middle of the night and something just feels wrong? Like nothing's happened yet, but your whole body knows something's off? That happened to me last year. It was around 2 a.m. when I woke up. No noise, no reason, just that feeling. I was lying there staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself to go back to sleep when I noticed something weird. My bedroom door was open. I always close my door before bed, always. But now, it was open just a crack, maybe an inch or two, just enough to see into the dark hallway outside. I stared at it for a second, feeling my stomach twist. Maybe I hadn't shut it all the way. Maybe a draft pushed it open. That's what I told myself. But then, I heard it. Soft, shuffling footsteps. Slow, steady, moving down the hallway. I froze. It wasn't my parents. They were out of town for the weekend, and I knew I was home alone. My mind raced. A burglar? Some creep who broke in? I strained to listen, barely even breathing. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. Then, knuckles tapped against the wood. Not loud. Just a light, deliberate knock, knock, knock. I nearly stopped breathing. I don't know how long I laid there, my heart hammering, waiting for something else to happen. But nothing did. No more knocks, no footsteps, just silence. After what felt like forever, I finally forced myself to sit up. My phone was on my nightstand, but I didn't want to reach for it, didn't want to move, in case whoever was outside could see me. Then, I had a thought. I reached over, as quietly as I could, and flicked on my bedside lamp. And that's when I saw it. The bottom half of my bedroom door D was wrong. From where I was sitting, I could see just a bit of the hallway through the crack, and in that space I could see feet, bare feet, standing right outside my door. I didn't even have time to react before the door slammed shut. I jumped so hard I nearly fell out of bed. The footsteps started again, this time running down the hallway. I heard them rush down the stairs, and then the front door creaked open. I sat there, frozen, until I heard it shut again. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't move until the sun came up. When I finally got the courage to check the house, everything was locked. Windows shut. Alarms still armed. But in the dust on the floor outside my door, I could see 2 footprints, standing there, waiting.
The man in the vents. All right? I need to tell you about the creepiest thing that ever happened to me. I don't talk about it much because, honestly, it still freaks me out. So, this was about 2 years ago. I was living alone in this small rental house. Not super old, but definitely had some quirks. You know, weird creaks at night, pipes that groaned randomly. Nothing too weird. Until one night. I was lying in bed, just scrolling on my phone, when I heard this noise. A light, scraping sound. Like something shifting inside the walls. Now, normally, I would have brushed it off as pipes or maybe a mouse or something. But this sounded different. It was slow, deliberate, almost like breathing. I sat up, listening. It was coming from the air vent near the ceiling. At first, I tried to convince myself I was imagining it. But then, no joke, I saw something move behind the vent cover. Just a quick, jerky movement, like someone had just shifted their weight. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and aimed it at the vent. For a second, there was nothing. Just the dusty metal slats. Then, 2 eyes, wide, unblinking, staring right at me through the gaps in the vent. I swear to God, I felt my whole body lock up. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then, it smiled. Just this slow, awful grin, teeth barely visible through the gaps. That broke me. I jumped out of bed so fast I nearly tripped over myself. I grabbed my keys, ran outside, and didn't stop until I was in my car, doors locked, heart hammering. I called the cops, of course. When they showed up, they searched the house. At first, they didn't find anything. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, nothing. But then, they checked the attic, and that's when they found it. A small, makeshift sleeping area. Blankets, empty food wrappers, and a single, dusty notebook. The notebook was filled with pages of handwriting. The first few were just nonsense scribbles, but the last page? It had my name, and underneath it, written over and over again in shaky, uneven letters, I see you when you sleep.